And so in 1580, the Towns College decided that they would give over this land to and found the town, so-called Towns College, the university. And there were sort of various buildings scattered about here, and also extending into what's now Chambers Street. So these were the university precinct, as it were. This building started to be built in 1790 or 1789. And was only completed because there were, lots of trouble with the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars and so on. So it held up. People ran out of money. So this building was only finished in 1827, just as Darwin was here, or just as Darwin was about to leave, in fact. Except for the dome, which was added in 1880. So that's about 60-odd years later. And believe it or not, when the medical school started here in 1720, before this building, I think there was a building in that corner which was where the medical teaching took place. First of all, the first professor of medicine here at that's not true. There were earlier professors who never gave any lectures, who never did anything. But the first one, the man, Alexander Munro Primus, was the first one who started up the medical school and made it such a success, So he was teaching, first of all, he was teaching down in the College of Surgeons, where we started out from. He was teaching there, even though he had a university appointment, but it just sort of seemed to make more sense for him to be down there. And even then, in the 1720s, long before, a century before Burke and Hare came along, there were always riots and objections when medical people took bodies down from the gallows and brought them to the medical school for dissection. So there were lots of riots and things like this. And the medical school, the Old Surgeons' Hall was easy to get at, for these people, so they could mob it. And Alexander Munro asked for permission to move into the university precinct up here, into this building here. So that happened in 1725 when he moved up here. And he did that because it was safer, because there was only one entrance to the university in those days. So you couldn't come in the way we've just come in, because Southbridge wasn't there, okay? So down there was a drop, and in fact you can now go on some of these ghost tours that will take you into the buildings underneath here. So you couldn't get up onto the university from here, you had to get in. We'll go past the entrance, the only entrance to the university, later on in the tour. So once Munro was up here, he could bring his bodies up here and dissect them, and the townsfolk couldn't get through the gate, the single entrance into the university, and so he was much safer. And so from then on, the medical school flourished. The reasons why the medical school here flourished, by the way, as well as a number of reasons. First of all, lectures were given in English as opposed to Latin, which is certainly popular with English-speaking people. So a lot of Americans came and a lot of Australians came here. And the other thing was that you didn't have to do any religious oaths. If you wanted to go to Oxford or Cambridge, you had to swear by the oaths of the Anglican Church. If you weren't an Anglican, you didn't want to do that, so you'd come to Edinburgh. And the other thing was that you didn't have to matriculate here, so some people did matriculate to do a full degree, but other people just came along to do lectures as they felt like it, and pay at the door to do lectures. And the reason why that was set up was because, and this was the most brilliant aspect, the town council decided, it was their college, the Towns College, and they decided they would only give the professors a very tiny salary. So Alexander Munro, who sort of really got things going, was only paid £15 a year. So remember, I told you that Burke and Hare got 14 guineas for a body, right? So the professor's only paid £15 for a year, but he's allowed to charge people to come in at the door to his lectures. And so it was in his own interest to be an absolutely brilliant lecturer, so that people would pay to come in and see him. And he used to have 300 students, and sometimes had to do his lectures 2 or 3 times in a day because he had, sort of 900 students effectively, 300 each time paying, so he could make a lot of money.